So someone just made a good point today about electric cars and how many people are going to be buying Teslas and electric cars, and how many people are going to need to be stopping at like motorways and charging, queuing up for these chargers now because they're just overpopulated kind of thing.
How did the conversation come into question?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me on the podcast.
No, anytime. Help yourself, like we said.
The areas, obviously I'm in Hamworth for the next couple of days.
Got a flight to catch back to LA in the morning, pending the release of episode 5, and red carpet walk next week.
Joe Rogan after that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So someone just made a good point today about electric cars and how many people are going to be buying Teslas and electric cars, and how many people are going to need to be stopping at like motorways and charging, queuing up for these chargers now because they're just overpopulated kind of thing.
Bruv, you remember when I had that electric van? Told you the range on it was. Can you remember?
Shit, wasn't it? No, yeah,
was it like 75 or was it 175?
Nah, I don't think it even was. I think it was like 80 or like 75, 80. Yeah. I remember saying to you like, that's mad.
A few moments later.
Correction. The electric van I used to drive, the range was 170 miles. But even travelling to Bicester, which was only a 50-mile journey, I would travel there in the morning, I'd have a full 170-mile range. Time I got there, I would now be with 30 miles left. So I haven't got enough to make it home, so I'd always have to either stop one way to make it more convenient, and you could never find a charging point. And the price of it, when I compared to the price of diesel and how many miles I got out of the diesel I put into my car, it was the same. And I'm thinking, bruv, they told everyone it's cheaper, it's going to be cheaper to run, and you look at the price of electric now.
Yeah, so imagine how much it's going to cost now.
And imagine you put everyone on the grid, everyone's on an electric car, you're all relying on it. So price of electricity shoots up.
It's going to keep going up. Yeah.
What choice have you got? Can't run your car, there's no alternative.
Yeah, these power companies own it. The agenda's just to benefit them.
I think it's all power, money, greed. As it always is.
Yeah, I can't be quoted on it, but someone else said about apparently you have to drive a Tesla 300,000 miles before you make it basically carbon neutral, like the correct carbon footprint.
What I've heard, is the manufacturing of that car, the amount of emissions it releases or whatever it is, the carbon footprint it causes through the harvesting of lithium ion, you need to drive 300,000 miles in that car for it then to outweigh the emissions you put in by buying that car. Yeah. The thing is, they haven't even been around long enough that we know if these cars can last 300,000 miles.
And yet, surely like 2 normal petrol running cars full lifetime. You're going to get about 150 miles out if you look after it. So that's 2 full cars worth of driving, which is basically like 2 lifetimes. If you're going to own a car from new and get it to 150,000 miles, that's a long time to own a car. It's going to take you 20 odd years to do that, surely. Like a normal person. Over 10 years, you have to do 15,000 miles a year. Over 10 years. Over 20 years, it's still 7,500. So still a lot of miles to be averaging 7,500 for 20 years. It's mad. Yeah, good 2 full cars. And again, like you think if they just invested all this time and money into running it on hydrogen or water and making a water engine, they'd have that by now.
Careful, you might get killed, bro. Speaking about that.
Yeah, shouldn't really say much. Blur that out. You think that's just madness. Again, it just goes back to the people that are making money out of it.
They argue that it's renewable, innit, electricity. That's obviously the argument. It all just pushes to that green agenda.
It's water, not.
Yeah, of course.
They keep saying the water levels are rising. The water levels are rising. Let's put some of it in a fucking engine. Get rid of it.
And burn it off.
Come on.
But what I was going to say, surely this science may be well off, I may be completely wrong, but if you can run a train on steam, could you not run an engine for a car? Obviously, we're putting a modern perspective on what we need of cars. We have this need for some reason for them to reach 150 miles an hour, to reach 180. Yeah. So if you was to, let's say, run a car on steam, I wonder how many miles per hour it could reach. But if you wanted just a generic car just for you to run your errands, you're only driving locally. See them people in America who've made their own cars and they've got little petrol engines on them. Just do something similar here, but then you've obviously got the road laws that prevent it. It's what people do on private land, I suppose, little caddy, innit? Just drive around. Add point to say, you remember this, Hounslow got a warning that they can't build no more new houses because there was too much strain on the grid.
A few months ago,
so if there's too much strain on the grid, how are you building the infrastructure to support the continuing growth of the electric car market? Like more people are in electric cars. I've noticed this trend. Company cars, companies are advocating it. They're Once
pushing
they've got
Teslas,
they're pushing
yeah.
Teslas. It's Teslas, everything's electric, and there's the hybrid cars. But what people forget, why diesel and petrol are the dominating fucking fuel sources, can start in cold weather. I had that time with the electric van. You remember, it was cold, it wouldn't start, bro. Imagine on a motorway, you got kids in your electric car, and you turn it off, and then you go turn it on, and you can't start, you can't get anything. You can't charge your phone, you can't get no heat, you can't do anything, because you're all reliant on that electric.
Yeah, middle of the night, you got emergency, you need to run out and do something, take someone to hospital or something, and the van don't start.
Especially in like places in Canada, do you know what I mean?
It's cold all the time, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not efficient. That's the thing, and I think these batteries, depending on what conditions that car is subjected to on a daily basis, if you've constantly got extreme temperatures like in Australia, how is that battery going to cope with that? Like, obviously it'll withstand it, it'll be able to withstand, but it's going to age it quicker, surely. And I feel like maybe they haven't been around long enough, and not many people have been driving them long enough and properly running them into the ground to know when they go wrong, what goes wrong with them. And how much does it cost to replace? Well,
yeah, because that's the thing. It's all only Tesla, like registered places allowed to touch them and fix it. It's like an iPhone all over again, where
they monopolise it. They put the mechanics out of business.
Only Apple can release the iPhone parts, kind of thing. It's that same bullshit again. Yeah. And if you use anything else, your warranty's void.
That's it. Yeah.
Again, just people at the top, money making. It's all just business first.
Yeah. It makes sense. If you had produced that, you'd want everyone to keep everything in tip-top shape. You'd want that, wouldn't you? You don't want some little Joey mechanic fucking with a fucking $100,000 car.
I guess there's an argument of safety. Like, if you believe in your car and you genuinely believe you've built something, that's you
don't want no cunt touching it.
Yeah, like, exactly. You've built it perfect. You don't want anyone else putting other stuff in it. It should only be your parts. I get that, but I don't know. It just feels a bit weird when you get restricted to something. Yeah. Imagine someone telling you like you can only choose this one thing. Whatever it is, you're just gonna feel a bit resistant.
That's another point on the electric cars. What a lot of conspiracy theories speculate is imagine we all own electric cars, and similar to 2 years ago, they say, right, lockdown, you're not allowed to leave your area. As we know, we would do what the fuck you want. It doesn't really matter. No one was policing it. No one could really do anything. But if you've got electric cars, and somehow it's registered to your home address, and someone at the top decides, right, all electric cars, whatever is assigned to it, cannot go further than a 5-mile radius. And then this ties into the 15-minute smart cities that Oxford Council are trialling it, other councils are trialling it, in providing everything a human being needs within a 15-minute reach, space, basically. Yeah. So, and I don't know if there is guidelines around it, but it will be within a certain mile radius. So next time, and I keep saying this, when there's climate lockdowns, they're going to say, right, you can't go out. You think, fuck it, we'll leave. Good luck.
Bring in Hunger Games, mate. You're going to be getting elected up to go and fight everyone else in other districts to bring some meat back for your people.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. It's going to be like the Purge.
Yeah,
like the Purge, District 13, Hunger Games, all tied in, Squid Game.
Do you think it's going to be how like areas are now? So there'll be like districts in Surrey, some areas of Surrey that will just have all the money, have all the power, have all the better things, the better places.
Richmond,
Richmond, and then you have like the Hounslows, and the Southalls and the places.
Remember when they done borough lockdowns?
Even Southall, to be fair, you're gonna have some areas that are gonna be banging, and other areas that are just other districts that are just be rough and ready.
Do you not remember the borough lockdowns? Was it borough lockdowns? But they were saying if you're from this borough, then you're amber or red, you shouldn't leave. I don't think it was like law, but they was advising. They were saying there's this many cases, like you're in an amber zone, and that subconsciously obviously influenced people and into what they've done in their everyday life.
Borough, you're amber, the whole of Hounslow.
Oh, we're going into Hounslow, right? I'm going to take my mask because Richmond is alright. The cases are low.
It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
But then that will tie into, I think, 15-minute smart cities, districts, and brothers. Some lockdowns coming.
Yeah, and that's what someone else was saying as well about apparently when you get the Teslas, I think you have to get a charger, so they're like smart chargers, and obviously that just gives them the power again to control it. They can just turn the charger off, or
didn't they do that? Didn't they do that with all the Russian oligarchs? Tesla turned off all their.
Yeah, they can just turn it off. Yeah,
turn off their cars.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so they can do it 100%.
Didn't they also threatened to do it or try or make an attempt to do it when a load of truckers went on strike. I want to say in like Canada or somewhere there was like miles of Arctic lorries that were all on strike, refusing to do something.
I think it was Canada. A lad kept on sharing it. What's his name? Shane.
Oh, Shane Truth Vibes.
Shout out. Shane Truth Vibes. Shout out.
Stop trying to sell us your shit products, mate. We don't fucking want to.
Clock what you're doing. What you're saying is good. It's good material. Stop dropping the product.
He discredits the info. That's the problem with a lot of like these truthers out there now. Is I can get on board with a lot of things they're saying, I believe in it, but then when you're trying to sell me the solution at the end of it, I know like it's a good business plan, it makes sense, you've done the research, you've got the knowledge, you've worked out a product that can stop this, I get it, but at the same time it really discredits the info because you've got an agenda to push. 100%. So you are going to put some false information naturally, to support the use of your product. So stop promoting products.
You've been told. Been fucking warned. So anyways, that brings us to our next topic. If you want to buy this thing
yeah. Click the link below.